So I'm sure my screen is visible to you all. So this is the analyst report that what we have published about the Nifty 50, that it has seen a decrease in the open interest of 8.52% and decrease in the price of 1.8%, that indicating the long unwinding actually. Okay, so normally on the call and put side, the call immediate resistance is at 25,000 followed by 25,100 and 25,200. On put side, that's a 25,000, it's a 24,700, 24,800, which can act as a immediate support. Now this is the strategy that we have given, that is for the next week, that's for the 19th September, that you have to buy the call option of 25,000 at a range of 120 and 130 and sell it at 25,200, that's between 60 to 70. So break even is 25,050. The risk is minus 1,400 and the reward is 3,525 actually. That's for the one lot. So call spread is the strategy that what we have given. So if you're following with the call spread strategy, then you have to do the call buy and simultaneously call sell. तो मोटा मोटी 30-40 हज़ार में like means the margin requirement is there. So आपका काम इसमें हो जाता है. Okay, now I'll just share the rights with Mr. Karan Pai, so that Karan Pai can give you the more insight about the today's sessions actually. Talking about that, yes, the Nifty 50 is trading right now. That is, I mean, the maximum loser is the one, the Tata Motors. But the Nifty 50 is trading around like this 24,990, and the open was 25,000 and the high was 25,072. But I can see that it is in the range bound situation right now, and means Nifty 50 is trading into the range bound situation right now. The highest loser is right now, that is our Tata Motors, because global brokerage firm UBS has issued a sell recommendation in the Tata Motors. We are not recommending anything on the Tata Motors right now, but I'm just giving you the information actually about the Tata Motors, that why it got plumped so much, that yesterday it was around this 5% down. So today also it is around like this 0.78% down. So now I'll hand over the session to Mr. Karan Pai. Karan, all over to you. Not yet, Karan. You are audible loud and clear, but your screen is not visible. You can share it entire screen here. Earlier it was visible actually. Yes, now it is visible. We are good to go.
में या wherein we are discussing expiry and 30-minute webinar mein it is very difficult to understand to explain to you what is the fundamentals or how Fibonacci functions. So broadly, Fibonacci is used to see what is the now this is in a very crude language. मतलब एकदम बेसिक में मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ कि फिबोनाची रिट्रेसमेंट जो है वो आपको बताएगा कि प्रीवियस स्विंग का के रिलेशन में अभी का ये करेक्शन है वो कितना डीप है, करेक्ट. So if you see the chart right now, I have plotted a Fibonacci which starts at 14th of August and went all the way up to 2nd September. Correct. And then we see that the recent drop that we had seen in the Nifty, that was on 9th September, fell very close to a 50% retracement level. So this is how you can use Fibonacci. And if you're asking about the time frame on which we can plot Fibonacci, so there is no specific time frame that we can plot Fibonacci on. So किसी भी टाइम फ्रेम पे जहाँ पे आपको ट्रेंड क्लियरली दिखाई दे रहा है वो वहां पर आप प्लॉट कर सकते हो. नाउ what I personally prefer to do is I plot it on the bigger time frame because I know what the broader trend is, and then go on to something like the intraday charts and all those things. अभी फॉर एग्जांपल ये मैंने फिबोनाची प्लॉट किया एंड देन आई गो टू द इंट्राडे चार्ट्स एंड मुझे यहाँ पे दिख रहा है कि ओके देयर इज अ जो मेरे लेवल्स है वो यहाँ पे वापस शो अप कर रहे हैं, एंड देन आई कैन आल्सो मैच माय रेजिस्टेंसेस एंड मैच माय सपोर्ट्स विद द फिबोनाची दैट आई हैव ड्रॉन ऑन द बिगर टाइम फ्रेम. सिमिलरली आपको छोटे टाइम फ्रेम पे और अगर रिट्रेसमेंट्स आपको ड्रॉ करने हैं आप कर सकते हो, बट मेरे हिसाब से चार्ट थोड़ा क्लटर हो जाता है. So my advice would be to limit yourself to the hourly chart if you want to draw Fibonacci. Now coming on to the Nifty expiry, so the chart that you're seeing is plain and like always three exponential moving averages, 5, 13 and 21, expressing short, a medium and slightly long term moving averages. अभी मैं long term बोल रहा हूँ because of the 321 is the biggest periodicity that I have. And उसके सामने अगर मैं देखूँ, you have a medium term which is 13 and you have a small short term which is 5. So अभी अगर मैं चार्ट पर देखूँ, so my first go-to tool always is a horizontal support and resistance, because वहाँ पे आपको psychology समझ में आती है traders की, वहाँ पे आप एक idea लगता है कि what the traders are thinking. And अगर आपको candles के बारे में और जानना है, then yesterday we did a YouTube live about how candles work, what is the psychology, and because of because we ran out of time, we actually only covered the major single candles. Candle patterns that are formed with only single candles. So single candlestick pattern is what we covered yesterday, but उसमें भी जो major थे वही वाले थे. So that you can definitely view. I mean, you can take a look at those webinars where we have explained what the candle psychology is. यहाँ पे अगर मैं वही psychology लगाऊं, so मुझे यहाँ पर दिखाई दे रहा है कि there is a bit of the last candle. It is showing that the bulls and the bears, they are having a tug of war to take control of the market. Correct. At this point, it's going up, it's going down, and then probably it's ending nowhere. अगर मैं previous दो candles को भी देखूं, there is always a tug of war. There is a upper wick, there is a lower wick. मतलब ऊपर जाने पर the bears are taking control, नीचे आने पर the bulls are taking control. And इसके ऊपर अगर मुझे कुछ एनालिसिस देना है, मतलब the market still seems to be a bit indecisive at this point of time, who is in control and what sort of positions should be built up. So, and all this is not a recommendation, this is simply what the charts are telling me at this point of time. Now for resistance, I choose my simple horizontal line and I plot it here because मुझे यहाँ पे दिखाई दे रहा है कि earlier this particular level was honored as a resistance, and ये previous uptrend में भी देखोगे वहाँ पे थोड़ा अटका हुआ था. नीचे आते टाइम it breached quite fast. I mean वो जैसे ही वो level निकल गया, there was a massive drop. So all in all, going by the intraday levels, 25,128, 25,130 is what I would round it off to. वहाँ पर थोड़ा hurdle आते हुए दिखाई दे रहा है. Then on the downside, एक clear no-brainer level जो है, that is somewhere around 24,830, 800 is what I would round it off to. वहाँ से अगर वो नीचे जा रहा है तो somewhere close to 25,700, or in extreme scenario somewhere close to 25,400 is where we might see the supports coming in. Now, as of now, ये जो मैं indecisiveness बोल रहा था market में, it is around the 25,000 level. Now ये जो 25,000 का level है, that is a round figure, and important क्यों है, because it is also a psychological level. So ये जितने भी round figures है, 24,000, 25,000, 26,000, ये जो round figures है, मतलब 25,000, 24,000, these levels are always considered to be a bit crucial. Similarly, something like 25,500, 26,600, 24,400. जहाँ पे भी if I give you a few numbers and जिस नंबर पे immediately आप थोड़ा रुक जाते हो, because you see some or the other thing, मतलब 25,500, so there is 5 repeating. So these are sort of levels, जहाँ पे market tends to halt a bit. I wouldn't say exactly take resistance or support, but it tends to halt a bit. Okay, before it catches momentum and direction again. So at this point, we are hovering around the 25,000 level. And अगर आप देखो ऊपर एंड नीचे का भी रेंज, अगर आप इसको देखोगे, नीचे 70 पॉइंट, ऊपर 60 पॉइंट, ऐसे चल रहा है मार्केट अभी. So then I'll simply go on to my daily chart, and I'll, as previously established, previous 3 to, okay, I would go as high as saying previous 5 candles, there has been a broad consolidation, and it's a fairly big point, because chart हमें ये बता रहे हैं कि previous 5 days the market has been trading flat, despite we seeing positive and negative ending days. So now we have the levels, and now what I prefer to do is reinforce these levels by looking at the option chain. So option chain के लिए मैं क्या करूँगा, simply NSE इंडिया के वेबसाइट पे जाऊंगा, क्लिक जहाँ पे स्टॉक नेम डालते हैं, आई क्लिक टू द निफ्टी एक्सपायरी. जस्ट अ मिनट, I'm on a bit of a slow internet connection, so please bear with me. Sorry. Yeah, so in the meanwhile, you can also do this along with me. And the charting software that I'm using is TradingView. So उसमें भी अगर आपको साथ में analysis करना है, if you want to put in your supports and resistances, please feel free to do it. And once you are on this derivative play page, click on option chain. And here we go. And because today is the expiry, वो आज की expiry बताएगा. So because we are looking at an intraday trade kind of scenario, so we'll just look at today's expiry itself. And option chain में the left hand side is the call, the right hand side is the put, and you will see 2 sort of color differentiation here. एक होता है आपका highlighted, एक होता है थोड़ा lighter region. So highlighted region is basically your ITM, and जो lighter region है, that is your OTM. So in both calls and puts. Now अगर आपको ये थोड़ा और समझना है, moneyness आपको समझना है, then we also have a webinar on YouTube that you can view to understand what moneyness is. And अगर मैं अभी देखूं, there is a massive concentration somewhere around 25,100. And अगर chart में आपने देखा होगा, आपको याद होगा कि the resistance was coming somewhere around sorry, because it was a broad consolidation, हम लोग का resistance आ रहा था around 25,125. So हम लोग को आइडिया लग जाएगा यहाँ से कि somewhere around 2,100 is where we might see some resistance coming in. Now I will look at the put side, and okay, massive accumulation somewhere around 24,900, 24,800. उसके बीच में अगर आप देखोगे तकरीबन 12 lakhs का OI accumulation है, cumulative अगर मैं देखूं तो. So all in all, a broader consolidation is what the market is actually looking at. Now यहाँ तक किसी को कुछ query है, कुछ doubt है, कुछ पूछना है, feel free. Anybody has a query about moving averages, RSI, because we've been continuously using these tools, and I just want to make sure that everybody is on board with what we are doing. Okay, so if you guys have any queries, then put it in the chat box. I'll take a look at them later. So now we'll quickly take a look at what the broader markets are doing. And if I go to, now as I've explained, this is an internal software that we have, and if I go to the nifty sectors that we have created, these are basically 12 sectors that we believe are running the market, I mean are driving the nifty at this point. And as of now, auto seems to be in charge. 0.9% positive, followed by PSU banks, metals, pharma. And broadly, agar aap dekhoge, of all the 12 sectors, all of them at the moment seem to be in the green. Not one sector in the negative. So that is some, sentiment. Agar aap dekhoge, so there is a slight bullish tilt in there. And then we look at the Nifty 50 stocks. अगर मैं निफ्टी 50 स्टॉक्स में देखूं and I check what is the advance or declines here at this point of time, 36 stocks they seem to be advancing. Matlab the market breadth seems to be indicating towards a bit of underlying positiveness in the Nifty 50. And अगर मैं top performers देखूं तो something, sorry, अगर मैं top performers देखूं तो something like Bajaj Auto, Shriram Finance, Aisha Motor, Hero MotoCorp, Wipro, they seem to be the gainers. And agar losing mein main dekhu, the stocks that are falling the most, they seem to be Nestle, Tata Motors, ITC. So all in all, this is what the market is at this point of time. And if you see, there are 6 stocks that have tested a new high or fresh high, record highs at this point of time. And if you want to do the same sort of analysis on NSE website, then simply go to the market, simply go to market data. NSE website पे जब भी आप जाओगे, home about market data है, market data में चाहिए. Click on equity and SME market. And ऐसा कुछ आएगा. यहाँ से आप individual sectors select कर सकते हो, whatever you want to look at. And right now I'm more interested in looking at what the Nifty 50 is doing at this point of time. I mean, what are the components of the Nifty 50 doing at this point of time? And then I bifurcate and then I sort them based on the percentage changes. इसमें आप देख सकते हो the same stocks that had showed up in the software that I was using, they come up. And similarly, if you want to take a look at what the individual sectors are doing, you can simply go on to the NSE website, click on view all indices, and there we go. So इसमें अगर आप देखोगे, you have sectoral indices, you have thematic indices, आपको काफी brief मिल जाएगा as to what the broader market is doing at this point of time. So यहाँ तक किसी को कुछ query है? Okay, we seem to have. So Chintan ji, this is an internal software and हमारा एक licensed software है ये. I will not be able to share the details about that, but yeah. Other than that, does anybody? Sunil ji, I hope I have cleared your query about Fibonacci. So basically, I'll introduce you to this term Elliott wave. See, Elliott wave बहुत ज़्यादा confusing है. So you have to make one thing very sure that if at all you are getting into this subject, then make sure you have a proper guide. Someone who knows Elliott wave very well, because Elliott wave के नाम पर there is a there are many people who try to educate you, but जिन लोगों को proper education नहीं है. So Elliott wave basically divides an entire move into multiple smaller waves which have an impulse or a correction. So मैं आपको एक brief समझा देता हूँ how it goes. Okay, so for example, this is an up move. So hypothetically, अभी this is not the picture perfect scenario. So Elliott wave आपको ये बोलेगा कि if this is one single move, this will move in a phase of 5 waves. Correct? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. XYZ. So that is when we use something like Fibonacci. So Fibonacci मुझे ये बोलेगा कि if there is a correction in the market at this point of time, previous up move का कितना % रहा है. Correct. It also helps us to understand, if it is just a correction or a trend reversal. Trend reversal यहाँ पे कैसे पता चलेगा? Because if आपका 100 points का up move रहा है in an individual stock, 100 rupees का अगर up move रहा है, correct, and if a particular stock has fallen down maybe 25 rupees, मतलब it's basically 25% of the entire up move. करेक्ट. बट अगर समझिए एक स्टॉक 80 रुपया गिर गया ऊपर से, मतलब 80% ऑफ द गेन्स हैव बीन वाइप्ड ऑफ. करेक्ट. सो ये एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग करने में आपको हेल्प करेगा कि वेदर दिस इज जस्ट अ मियर करेक्शन और अ प्रोबेबल ट्रेंड रिवर्सल. ये सब चीजें आपको थोड़ी क्लियर हो जाएगी इफ यू यूज फिबोनाची. बट देन अगेन, इफ यू आर गेटिंग इनटू ऑल दीज थिंग्स, देन मेक श्योर you have a proper guide or you read the proper materials about all these things, because these things can get really confusing at times. And there are a lot of people who will be more than happy to probably guide you जिन लोगों को proper information नहीं होगा. So that's why I'm telling you, if you're getting into all these things, then make sure that you have a proper guide who will properly guide you through understanding what the Fibonacci, what Elliott wave is, everything is. Nonetheless, about Fibonacci, we will have a series coming up. And जैसे हम लोगों ने अभी टेक्निकल एनालिसिस का सब स्टार्ट किया हुआ है, we will definitely create content for something like Fibonacci also. But not immediately. We would like to touch base on the simpler technical tools first before getting into something a bit more complicated or a bit more advanced. So I hope Sunil ji, yeah, welcome, welcome. So how to assess strength in the trend? So Chintan ji, there are multiple ways of assessing strength. So basically क्या होता है कि first you have to see if there is a momentum. For example, we use RSI to understand the momentum, correct? So अगर आपका price ऊपर जाए जा रहा है but your momentum is falling, correct? So मतलब up move में there is no thrust. करेक्ट. अभी मैं आपको एक सिंपल एग्जांपल देता हूँ. नाउ वी लिव इन मुंबई, करेक्ट. अभी अगर मुझे सीएसटी से अंधेरी जाना है एंड आई एम ट्रैवलिंग फ्रॉम सीएसटी टू अंधेरी बट एट अ स्पीड ऑफ 20 किलोमीटर पर आवर बिकॉज ट्रैफिक बहुत है, तो मेरे में मोमेंटम नहीं है. आई माइट टेक टाइम टू रीच देयर, करेक्ट. या मिड वे में सोच सकता हूँ कि जाना ही नहीं है अंधेरी, आई माइट टेक अ यू टर्न एंड गो होम. बट इफ आई एम डूइंग द सेम डिस्टेंस एट से 100 किलोमीटर्स, मतलब रास्ता पूरा साफ है, मुझे काफी मैं स्पीड से वो डिस्टेंस कैचअप कर पा रहा हूँ, दैट इज द मोमेंटम. अगर मुझे मोमेंटम के साथ जाने को मिलेगा देन द प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ मी गोइंग टू द डेस्टिनेशन इज मच हायर. दिस इज जस्ट अ वेरी बेसिक एग्जांपल. सो मार्केट का भी वैसे ही है. इफ इट इज कंटिन्यूअसली गोइंग हायर देयर शुड बी मोमेंटम, करेक्ट. अगर आपको मोमेंटम है देन दैट इज वन ऑफ द गेज दैट देयर इज स्ट्रेंथ इन द मार्केट. सेकंड इज मार्केट ब्रेथ. मार्केट ब्रेथ आपको क्या बोलता है कि breadth is actually a kind of a mathematical gauge to understand whether there is enough strength in the index or the in the particular index or the stock market in general. Correct. अगर निफ्टी में 50 stocks है, correct, and if the market is continuously going higher, but there are only say 2 or 3 stocks that are hitting 52-week highs every day, correct. So अब ऐसे मतलब कॉन्फिडेंटली नहीं बोल सकते हो कि yes the market breadth is very positive. No, because see if there are 50 stocks in the Nifty 50 basket and जब market ऊपर जा रहा है there are like say 30 or 35 stocks that are going higher, you can say okay the breadth is basically positive. मतलब 50 stock में से 30 stock मेरे ऊपर जा रहे हैं and the index is going higher. But अगर मेरा index ऊपर जाए जा रहा है and there are only say 3 heavyweight stocks that are moving higher. Now this is again an example. Nothing to do with real life. बट अगर मेरा तीन ऐसे हेवीवेट स्टॉक्स है जो कंटिन्यूअसली चले जा रहे हैं, देन देयर इज आप ऐसे नहीं बोल सकते हो कि देयर इज स्ट्रॉन्ग कन्विक्शन. Understand? So same thing goes with individual sectors. So these are a few ways with which you can assess strength in the trend. This when I'm talking about index, and अगर आपको stock का देखना है then we have oscillators, we have the slope of the trend line. Trend line जैसे हम लोगों ने explain किया था, अगर वो slope ज़्यादा steep नहीं होना चाहिए but ज़्यादा भी flat नहीं होना चाहिए. It should be properly somewhere around 45 degrees. So it will be, we can say that okay there is strength in the trend. So these are a few gauges that I generally use to assess if there is strength in the trend. And agar if you're looking at individual stocks, then there can be one more tool that there is volume build-up. मतलब वहाँ पे participation आ रहा है. Now bear in mind ये आपको stock में ही होगा because index as such trade नहीं होता है. Index का derivative trade होता है. Index underlying trade नहीं होता है. So ऐसे time पे अगर आपका stock अगर ऊपर जा रहा है, कोई एक breakout है, okay, and there is a massive participation, then you can say that okay, there is a possible strength. Other than that, किसी को कुछ query है? I hope Chintan ji, I have been able to solve your query. Yeah. So RSI, as I explained, it is basically a momentum indicator. Now, इसके बारे में भी अगर आपको जानना है, we had conducted a webinar earlier on RSI. Now, I don't want to keep brushing on the subjects that we have covered because we have a lot of things that can be done new. करेक्ट सो अगर आपको एट एनी पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम आपको समझना है आरएसआई इन डेप्थ में वी विल बी कवरिंग इट ऑन सम अदर डे बट नाउ आई विल एक्सप्लेन टू यू कि आरएसआई एग्जैक्टली चलता कैसा है सो आपने जितने भी आरएसआई वगैरह के बारे में बुक्स पढ़े होंगे सो one thing that you might have come across is something called as a bounded oscillator. Bounded मतलब क्या है? RSI का calculation अगर आप देखोगे, it cannot go beyond 100, it cannot fall below 0. So this means it has an upper bound जहाँ पे it will hit a hard मतलब the calculation is such that it cannot go beyond 100, but at the same time it cannot go below 0. Now some of the books will tell you that 80 and 80 के ऊपर जाएगा it is overbought, 20 के नीचे जाएगा it's oversold. But one thing that you have to always keep in mind is whenever there is momentum build up, okay, and ये books में भी आपको दिखाई देगा कि whenever there is strong momentum build up, oversold will remain, sorry, overbought will remain overbought for a while, and oversold will remain oversold for a while. So one might ask कि ये मैं कैसे use कर सकता हूँ RSI? So what that is where something like a I'm sorry, that is where something like a divergence comes into place. So divergence basically क्या होता है कि say for example आपका ये up move है, correct? And then there was a fair bit of correction. Now I'm sorry, my chart might be much smaller, but मुझे यहाँ पे data आपको थोड़ा ज़्यादा दिखाना है. And what you have to look at is what I'm trying to explain to you, correct? So ये up move में if you look at the RSI वहाँ पे the RSI was heading higher at least till here. देन वहां से मार्केट ने नया हाई मारा ये जब यहाँ से ऊपर जा रहा था यू सी दैट द आरएसआई इंडिकेटर इज आल्सो हेडिंग हायर मतलब आपका ये अप मूव में देयर वाज मोमेंटम ओके बट यहाँ आने के बाद there was a brief correction and then your the index actually tested a new high but ये आपको momentum में build up दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है यहाँ पे करेक्ट सेम वे वापस there was a correction फिर इंडेक्स ने नया हाई मारा बट मोमेंटम बिल्डअप दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है so this is how you understand whether the new highs or a probable divergence is in place. Now I'm at this point of time please understand that I'm not telling that there is a divergence. I'm just giving you a hypothetical example. So ऐसे टाइम पे क्या होता है कि मतलब इंडेक्स इज टेस्टिंग अ न्यू हाई बट आपका जो मोमेंटम है वो छोटा होता है नाउ चार्ट पर भी आपको दिखाई देगा कि ये जो अप मूव है उसमें आप कैंडल के साइजेस देख लीजिए इन जनरल काफी छोटे हैं करेक्ट यू लुक एट द रेंजेस जो हाई और लो का डिफरेंस है उसमें आप देख सकते हो कि कैंडल के साइजेस जो है वो काफी छोटे हैं मतलब इट इज गोइंग अप बट इट इज मोर ओवरऑल क्लोज टू क्लोज आप देखोगे हायर हाई बन रहा है बट कैंडल के साइजेस जब आप देखोगे कि मोमेंटम कितना था वो कम हो रहा है इट इज लाइक मैं वीटी से अंधेरी जा रहा हूँ बट रुक रुक के जा रहा हूँ 20 किलोमीटर की स्पीड पे जा रहा हूँ जहाँ पे प्रीवियसली मैंने 100 किलोमीटर पर आवर पे वो डिस्टेंस खत्म कर लिया था बट अभी भी मैं पहुंचूंगा मैं विल आई रीच देयर आई विल रीच देयर बट एट अ स्लोअर रेट बिकॉज माय मोमेंटम इज वेरी स्लो सो ये चीज आपको समझनी है कि देर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज डाइवर्जेंस मतलब आपका ट्रेंड ऊपर है बट योर मोमेंटम इज लूजिंग द अंडरलाइंग इज लूजिंग मोमेंटम so that is where something like an RSI will come into play. Same thing in a falling market also मतलब आपका market गिरे जा रहा है and एक point ऐसे आएगा जबकि down move में there is not enough momentum. So these are things that you need to keep in mind. Over to you, Rohit.
So thank
Um, See, what I would suggest is, there are मैथमेटिकल वे जब आप देख रहे हो, यू आर probably looking at quantitative ways to analyze the market. So if you are too much into the quant side, then what I would suggest is I mean, not we, there are a lot of content. There is a lot of content on most of the platforms wherein they will explain to you how to look at the mathematical side of analyzing markets. But my suggestion would be, again, किसी भी चीज में आप जब भी घुस रहे हो, make sure you are doing anything with 100% know how. Correct. So having no knowledge is not a problem. Having all the knowledge is fine, but having half knowledge is the most dangerous thing that you can ever come across in this on this planet. So ऐसे नहीं हो कि वो एक चक्रव्यूह बन जाए and आप उसमें से कभी निकल ही नहीं पाओ. So we will probably in a later stage, मतलब यहाँ से एक 2-3 साल अगर हम लोग साथ रहे तो we might come up with content on that. Again, I'm telling might. अभी तक उसका we have not even thought of that entire mathematical way of assessing the strength and all those things, because we only want to focus right now on charts. We only want to focus on technicals. Quant side, as of now, we do not have any plan on starting anything on the quant side. But if at all we do, then you guys will be notified. So depending on divergence, how do we plan a trade? Okay, so what you have to understand is a divergence would mean a possible or a probable trend reversal. So ऐसे time पे you have to look at where the markets. I mean, it has been falling for some time, then slight correction, again वो नीचे जा रहा है. So invariably, what will happen is you will see something like a double bottom or a double top pattern in the formation. So everything is basically psychology, price psychology and all those things. Correct. So ऐसे time पे you have to have a system in place wherein you add something like a divergence to your trading plan. Now अभी मैं ऐसे situation में आपको बोलूँ, so something like this. Okay, you saw that there was a divergence. So in this case, RSI falling below 60, because here this was a low. RSI ka, it falling below 60 would be a red flag for me. Correct. So that is when I would, that is when I would enter into a trade. But again, you have to keep one thing in mind. Most of these momentum indicators are calculated, uh, real time, based on the prices. So if you see a gap down, हो सकता है कि आपका divergence might have taken place and वहां से वो घूम भी गया हो. So market is very very dynamic. So जो strategy आज आप बना रहे हो, वो हो सकता है कि एक महीने बाद वो नहीं चले. So you have to always have a few tricks up your sleeve. So strictly based on divergence is not something that you might be able to execute. So you should have a setup in your mind. You should have a setup ready. And अगर उसमें आपको ये additional चीजें दिख रही है कि जैसे आपका divergence है, which is confirming your bias. Again, when I'm telling confirming your bias, you should be absolutely truthful to yourself. You should not forcefully see a divergence just because you have a particular view. When you're reading charts, you should be absolutely neutral. You should be absolutely truthful to yourself. How to know the momentum is high or low? Yeah. So, राजेंद्र जी, आप चार्ट देखोगे, कैंडल के साइजेस जब भी आप देखोगे, when you are in a trend, you will get a brief understanding of what is happening. Correct. So these are some of the ways to understand if you have enough momentum or if you're losing momentum. So I hope I have Chintanji, about quant. Unfortunately, I'll not be able to guide you through that. आप सिंपल गूगल सर्च करके देख सकते हो, and you can talk to a few industry experts if you know someone who does quants and all those things. As of now, I'll not be in a position to guide you through quants. Do we have any more queries, Rohit? Thank you.